Are we live? We are. Hold on. We are. We are live. We are live, folks. We are live. All right. So everything looks good here. Should be. All right. So we gonna play rapid games. Let me see. We are here. Everything looks good. All right. Rapid games. Rapid games. All right. Everyday chess. That's good. Good username. Everyday chess. Why every day? I mean, it could be every other day. G6, that's the way to go. So G7, D6, D5. Yeah, this one is interesting though. I played this line a lot. This one is unique. Here, I guess maybe he could do like E5, Bishop G2. It's F6. I mean, F4 is interesting, but I don't know if I like this move though by white. Here we could always jump knight castles. Could always take knight and then castle and then knight g4. You have to worry about white having some issues, potential weaknesses around the squares, like here, 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 here. It could be fun. We take here. May as well pre-move it. Should he take on? Okay, he's not doing this. So we castle. Now we have this. We have the open file. So even if he takes, we just stick with the queen. We are doing great. Every day is chess, right? That's what happens when you play a lot of chess. So he took here. It kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense that because the knight could jump all over the place. But I actually kind of... You do have some weaknesses around the king e1. So he could take here, or what he's going to do. This concern is like bishop here. The rook is open file. Some kind of queen b6 in some line. I mean, I could take queen b6, attacking b2. It could be interesting. It could be interesting. Queen e2, is he castling here? Because he can't. So now queen b6 is real. Now that he moved his queen over here, the real issue is actually those two pawns is under attack. And he cannot play here because of bishop takes. Or I could actually take and queen b6. This move order may matter. Because here maybe it's bishop takes. I may lose a turn because of rook takes on c8. Which means we may just need to gain a tempo. Queen b6. He may have knight e6. Sticks on b2. We're attacking the rook and the knight on c3. So here, I suppose, is here. Yeah, it was a stick. You might try on some kind of queen g4 later. I don't know if you could save the game, but we'll see. What is he waiting for? Knight takes. Queen b6. Knight takes, queen b6 here, attack here, take here. So queen b6 is one of those moves where each move that you make in chess has to have some ideas, right? So if you make a move that has multiple ideas, it's always good. So queen b6 is better than, let's say, queen e5, right? Queen b6 is attacking both pawns, so that has a multiple, multi-purposes kind of stuff. The more you play this move, the more you get better, right? So I could see now it's not an easy way to defend both pawns at the same time. So he plays queen d3. Which actually feels like the only move. If I go here, queen e3, rook takes b7, and maybe he's okay. Maybe he's okay. The rook b1. Win here, rook takes. Every day is chess. There's also potential knight e6. I mean, maybe taking here right away is not ideal because you could take on b7. Not sure. Queen e3. Rook takes b7, knight e6. Threatening knight b4. This knight might be loose. He may just move his knight, and he could take on d3. I see. It's not as easy as it looks for black. Maybe we just need to play e6, knight d7. All right, let's play this. e6, c5. We could still claim that we are breaking the center somehow. So c5 is one way to break the center. I mean, now that he can't castle here, and now he can't castle here, which is laughable. The reason it's laughable because obviously you need to castle at some point. So I'm avoiding both castling same time, and now I move the knight with ideas like e6. I may just lose like a move, like I have to make this move and then c5, and this breaks the center in favor for black, right? I mean, these pawns are going to be attackable. Usually, what you need to do is like knight e2. He may actually consider this, but this queen takes b2, right? And then we are back to he doesn't have rook b1 anymore. I said almost anywhere, but anymore. I mean, so it's tough to make a decision. I mean, maybe knight here. He could sack a pawn. Knight e2. So attack the rook at f4 before I get to play queen takes b2. It's hard to say. Knight f2 maybe. Was the idea of knight g4. So try to get this bishop out of g4, h6 so he could castle somehow. So maybe this knight belonged to... So the problem here was knight f2 though. Is it makes sense to play knight g4, but the knight f2 is actually knight takes e5. The idea is you take here, queen takes f2. You get a pawn, central pawn, you win on f2. That's a good tactic. And if he doesn't take, you go here, let's say, is knight c4 or queen, even queen takes b2. He plays e4. I don't understand that move, to be honest. This move does not make sense completely because he wants to play e5, but I could play e5 myself, and it's not really... I mean, he might try to get creative with rook e3 or something, but I could always take. As a matter of fact, a5 should be good enough. a4 does not really achieve anything. The issue if I play e6, he could still take. I may not have a quick c5, right? Because here. I mean, even this one is not clear for white. What is really white is trying to do. I think if we here, you just play rook b1 here and rook b7, and he's attacking the knight. So c5. Sometimes all you have to do is like you stop the you stop your opponent's ideas, right? So again, we know that knight f2 does not work. We still takes on in e5. If people doesn't see it, knight takes e5 takes queen takes f2. That's a tactic. Knight f2, knight takes c5. Let's say he plays queen e2, defending. There's also queen takes d4. I mean, knight f3 check even. So this move is not playable. Tactically, it's just going to be a mistake. The reason knight f2 is a move you would consider because of knight g4, he's hoping for you to go there, bishop g7, and then he castles long. He defends b2, and also, castles. Right? He plays b3, okay. So b3 is defending b2, obviously. So now we just go as a plan. We go as a flow here. It's e6, c5. I mean, nothing really stopping this plan. And again, if knight here is just you just take it to free pawn, and then you attack on d4. So e6. You always have to be careful with e6 because maybe he could attack it like queen e2, queen g4. He doesn't have this in his disposal though, right? So once you play queen e2, his queen takes d4, and you have to worry about your position is collapsing after that. He did he did defend b2, but it's not really good enough of a position to defend. c5 is coming in. The reason c5 is a big move is you could take and then queen takes. e5 is probably going to be hanging at some point. He plays here. This may be a good move because I guess here is c3 and he wants to defend that way, right? Makes sense. It does make a lot of sense, but here c3 I could still take here though. That's actually an interesting idea. Rook b1. Hold on, folks. May need to go to the restroom, but quickly, hold on, folks. Be right back. Restroom. I only have 4 seconds, 4 minutes, but I'll try to make it quick. Yeah, I made it really quickly. That was quick. Very quick. Alright, I'm back. That's still my move, though. I have to play c5. So c3 is queen takes, rook b1, queen takes c4, rook takes b7. We're still defending the knight, though, so he doesn't have here. Queen is defending. I maybe just win a pawn. And by the way, he's still not castled, so I have maybe queen e1 before he even considered rook takes. So c3 is not really helping. But he might be going to knight f4. Actually, that feels like the real idea. But knight f4 does not win since e6. Queen is defending e6. So c5 is really good for two ways. It's competing on the center, and also it opens up for the queen defending e6, right? So knight f4, as much as it looks like now, the reason knight f4 maybe is an attractive move, as just like I explained like a few minutes ago, that he could castle, he may just castle, and he's actually doing it thinking that he could castle long, or actually castle short. But once he do it now, I still have this, perhaps. Or I could take, I think here knight takes e5, bishop takes in the process. His queen takes is a big issue for me. I don't think so. Is it knight takes? Queen takes. All right, we just have to make a move here. Is queen takes? Queen takes d4 maybe? That's maybe a move. So he wants you to take a knight here, and then once you take here, takes here, takes here, knight takes e6. So maybe he's okay. Even then, I'm not even sure if he's okay. There must be some rook e4. If he takes here, there's always like knight takes e5, and then bishop takes f4. So this has to be good for black. So he did that. Yeah, that may be... So if I take here, it's queen takes here, and then he goes upon, he's fine. If I take here, knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes e6. We're gonna do it. Takes. So knight takes e6 does not do much. I may have... So if I play here, he defend f4. If I take here, knight e6, knight rook e4, I could take here. It feels like I'm much better here. You cannot take knight here because the rook is actually hanging on now. F4. So we could check. Now he's not going to castle, by the way, which is funny, right? He was trying to castle throughout the game. Here, I guess I could also take with the rook on e5. Maybe it's here, so he doesn't have this. His knight f3 check. which is tricky. He might be hoping for this or even this, but this leads to like check. So he plays here. He's looking for this. Hmm. I have to move fast though. He has to take here. That's gonna move fast. Again, knight takes b7. Problem is with those games, even though it's 10 minutes, it still ends like in like a blitz game. Unfortunately here. Ends like in a maybe it's here first. So we could check here and rook c8 maybe. I mean, black's still good though. There's still this issue, knight f3, even here. You take, knight f3, take the rook. So the idea of d4 maybe is rook g2, like forcing his king to be in the back rank, and then bring the other rook to go like rook f2 or something. This feels like a good attack. I have to watch out the a5 could be taken. He could take it as long as like I'm winning. Like I'm okay. Okay, here and then rook here. So I could check, you cannot take here. The rook is hanging, so check here, knight b4. This should be annoying for him though. May as well pre-move it just in case he takes. Knight here, we just rook b2, I suppose. Try to push path, try to create a pass pawn. I think if rook here, I could take here, it's you're hitting him with mate. Maybe it's c3. This feels like tricky. Yeah, maybe it's c3. I may have missed it though. So takes, takes, takes. e5 is now it's competitive. One minute of my clock. Defending this, which I'm not happy. I'm not happy about this, but this is gonna be bullet game now. Bullet game, bullet game at its best. Here is knight f6. He's trying to win this, of course. He's playing the best moves. Oh wow. Wow. Okay, so can I check? That's oh wow. It's not a five. Oh, It should be winning, you know. Should be winning. Yeah, this is a sad game though to lose. Right here. All right. I mean, I was winning basically, but and he doesn't give a rematch. Everyday chess. Turns out to be there's no everyday. It's like one game a day. All right. E4. Let's play Gambit. E4. This is Wing Gambit. Typically it's D5. Oh, E5. Takes C3, C5. C4. Hey, Keegan, how's it going? You did? You did? Yeah. I'm down a pawn and it's... So this is how the gambit works, but I don't have enough compensation to this D5 that I'm kind of concerned about. Okay, we castles D5. I guess I could take, knight takes. Okay, so H3 stopping bishop G4. This is not a move I could always take. You cannot take, rook takes. Seriously, I mean, seriously here, in all fairness, in all accounts here, this feels like I'm down a pawn. Like, I'm just down a pawn here, which is funny, though. Wait, hold on a second here, Queen D7. He's still defending the pawn. Yeah, this defends the pawn in a very weird way, but... And I suppose here's knight A5. I could take. Takes, rook F7. And E6 is big stuff here. Not a position that I hoping for. So bishop E3. Suppose he could take. Maybe F5 could be weakness. Takes. Not here. Just down a pawn here, though. Down a pawn here. Knight F5, bishop F8. Not much to do here. Maybe even D5, forcing a trade on F8. What to do here? Maybe knight G4, and I'm not even sure what it does exactly, but trying to get some attack in, and it's not happening yet. He just plays here, and it's the best move. G6, stopping all these jumps by the knight. If he could still play here in some line. Maybe the other knight gets to G4, and then claiming D5. Like here, pawn takes. Knight D5 next. You always have to worry about bishop G7. Here, maybe I could take with the queen instead of with the pawn. So making room for knight D5. Is maybe H4, H5 ideas? H4, H5. c3 is also weak, though. I mean, you could argue that rook c8 is good enough. h5, I suppose that's a good move. I could play queen f3. I don't think queen f6 is a move I could always take. Bishop takes d6, rook d8, the other rook d8. But h5 is kind of a gamble, though. He doesn't have to do it. It could weakening his king somehow, like after knight d5. I could actually go for bishop c1, which actually now maybe this is idea. And also knight d5 defends c3, so that's actually interesting. I suppose here is the knight here, knight f6, takes. d6 is still weak, so we still do it. Rook b8 does not make too much sense here, though. Maybe he's looking for something like that. If he went for that, I felt like this one leads to knight f6. This is still... Maybe he's looking at some weird knight c8. This is a really weird move. You don't want to take because this actually helps black. Let's just do it this way. He might do knight c8. This is crazy stuff. Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Flash? I don't have time for knight c8. I mean, it's... Knight c8. Knight c8 defends d6. I'm not sure. Maybe it's going to be a short stream. I don't know. Maybe. If you take, it's a free pawn. He's still up a pawn. He's still up a pawn here. But maybe I just move my queen f3. Yeah, I'm considering all ideas. Considering all ideas. 916. Knight coming to b6. The knight b6, knight e4. I mean, this is too much. All right, queen f3, knight b6 maybe, knight e4, and c3. The legendary weakness keeps happening here. C3 in this line in the wing gambit, usually it's a big weakness. Knight b6, I suppose. Yeah, I'm considering other ideas like 916, you know, short stream. I mean, right. I'm considering all ideas. I mean, I'm streaming on Twitch, so everything is queen c7. Takes bishop here. Take on c3, though. Take. We just play here. We're trying to mate. Now that he has some major weaknesses because he didn't sag, but he exchanged around here. You know, we exchange a bishop for knight, so that leads to like major weaknesses. It may be maybe he could hold if he could exchange more pieces on the, you know, like we have more exchange. Rook b6. Okay, what is this move? He wants to play here as soon as I play here. And if I go here, rook c6. He's also defending e6. So actually, this pawn was attackable, but I don't think that was the real grab here because he could still take. The real concern is actually around here. So I suppose here, if I go, he could go here. No, queen f6 stalemate. Some kind of d5. May have here, which is crazy. He may have here, which maybe it's okay for black, actually. Maybe it's okay. It's forcing me to go back. 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes, Stellar. All right, let's dance. Bishop g5. Take on c3. I mean, he's probably looking at taking on c3 and some kind of d5. Sacking the pawn at d5 and gets his knight to d6. Something crazy along those lines. Rook c6 is also a move, and he just did it. He just did the move, okay. I mean, you could take on c3, I don't care. You could do that. That's fine. You could do that. Takes on c3, or maybe knight e7. Knight b6 is even a move. Knight b6, knight d7 is actually interesting. Kind of stopping bishop f6. He wants to play a5. Okay, that's... Alright, g4. King g2, rook h1 is actually the plan. I'm getting hit by Thunderbolt here, which is crazy. Not quite. Not quite. We're still attacking somehow. He wants to take here, yeah, that's quite obvious. And then he's defending. Good for you, good for you. Queen c5 next. Hit him with his speed, though. Hit him with his speed, and here. Maybe rook e6? Rook e6, g5? It's not easy yet. Not easy yet. Probably eventually have to sack on f6. Nah, I'm just pre-moving because of time. I mean, the time is gonna be rough here for me. Gonna be rough. Pre-moving. Hit him with the speed, though. What else does he have? And he has to take. If he doesn't take, he has to risk queen h1. I mean, queen h3, excuse me, or queen or king g2, rook h1. He's playing here. That's a way to escape, though. That's a way to escape. Did I take on a5? Queen takes, queen takes. Could we do this? Could we take on c8? Ah. And bishop here, I guess. Wow. That's a vicious move, though. That's a move you don't see every day. Okay, so... Here? Okay. This actually must be winning for me, actually. Hard to believe this is okay for black. Rook e6 maybe next. Rook e7, actually. But it's blitzed now. It's not even 10-0 anymore. I mean, it's blitz games. I mean, Azaz hit 2,700, but still, like, I'm not playing Blitz game here. Is he actually, what is his rating? Want to see. He's not even a Blitz player. He doesn't play Blitz games. It's gonna be rough. He's not a Blitz player. I mean, the clock is ticking. So he doesn't have any rook move. Rook e7 is really tough. Because now f7 could be falling and the king is not even secure. The king is in a box, pretty much. Like in a box. Oh, he's attacking my queen. Okay, so check first. Get a check. Six again. Probably had rook e6. Probably had rook e6 in the process. All right. Rook e7, I suppose, is still happening. It's your move. And where this queen is going? Queen is going over here. I mean, don't I have mate here somehow? I mean, this is crazy if there's no mate. I mean, I could have took on f7, but I'm not even sure. I mean, I'm looking for a mate here. This was hanging. Oh, yes, here? Oh, that's great. That's great. How did I get to this position? I have no idea. Like, what is going on here? Insane. 41 seconds, 41, 40 seconds, 40 seconds. He's trying to mate. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He's trying to mate. Offer a draw, and he's not taking it. You're not taking it? Okay, don't take it. It's fine with me though. And I pre-move and it's not enough. Oh gosh. I mean, this guy is a little bit too much. A little bit too much. I pre-moved and it's still not enough. He doesn't even want to do a rematch. I just want to check his stats. Puzzles is 2000. Yeah. All right, one more. One last game, though. One last game, folks. Last game, G6. D5. So we could play G6 against everything here. I mean, it just feels like it's in English. It tells me it's a great snake variation. The Great Cobra. I mean, what kind of snake here? I mean, some names are off the wall here. Like some openings has weird names that you don't even make sense. Like Cozy Attack. So this feels it's okay for black. Maybe I already equalized and like, you know, move 2. So here he takes his bishop takes. 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 Look at this king moving. King moving is flying. And then it's probably boring, but knight d7, I suppose. Knight f6, queen c7. He could play here, of course. Bishop g4 maybe next. He might stop it somehow. h3 is okay. Even knight d4 might be the move. Here, bishop e2. I could take. Why didn't you do bishop e2? I'm kind of surprised by this. So he's giving himself like double pawns. Not necessary here. This is volunteer. Volunteer work by him. Queen e5. So now this knight is better than the bishop, I think, in the long term. More attackable pawns. So even a move like here could be an issue. All right. King here. Maybe he has bishop e2. Yes, bishop e2. I check it's just one move kind of thing. Bishop e2, I suppose. Queen f5. Queen. Wait. Um. Queen e2. Well, that's. Queen e2 is not the greatest move, though. I could still play here. I wonder if I'm trapping my own queen in this situation. Rook g1, rook d5. I have to get the classic rook h5 lift. We'll give it a try, though. You could try queen f3 as well. I mean, he's okay, but for now. I mean, I suppose rook here, just here. It's... All right. Rook d6, e4, knight h5. So I could trade rooks, that's fine. Queen is trapped in some line. Doesn't work. Does not work. All right, knight d5. Attacking here. So here, maybe knight c3 though. As I mentioned, the knight is better than the bishop in a situation like this, and e2 is hanging. So I'm attacking e2, maybe getting my queen back to like activity. So he has to be careful. This is also playable because queen goes back f2. So depending on what he does, like king g2, hanging e2. If he plays e4, knight takes here, queen takes f2. It's actually tough to make a move here, to be honest. I mean, maybe queen g4 still takes. Because he eventually might lose a pawn here, which is kind of... If you lose a pawn here, it might be technically over, because this position is still pretty tough, even when it's even. I mean, because the knight is better than the bishop. You can see the bishop is not doing anything. The knight is already on c3. Maybe this move is okay. I suppose I can still take... I mean, he can't even do queen here because f2 is hanging. So he's trying to get his queen into the game as much as possible. So now we play queen f6, and he's trying to play e4. Maybe I could play queen c3, any kind of trades. So now I could trade, though, maybe. I mean, I could... I'm not sure if this queen ending is winning, but... Because knight c3 and you take on e2, it's just going to be trades, which leads to, like, queen ending. You might draw that somehow. We play here, defending e7. We played safe. Maybe we just, like, try to create some pass pawns. Pass pawn, not pass pawns. There's only one way to do it, not two. He could try f5, maybe. I mean, that's just... Maybe now he could be concerned about this. Maybe this ending is actually... Could be winning, because now it's going to be knight versus bishop, and I'm up a pawn, so that's entirely different in the game. This move is kind of weird anyway, so maybe here... I mean, his position is not that great. So knight here, you can see the knight is really active. I mean, a move like knight d3 almost feels like it's too much. It must be some knight e2, knight e1, and then e5, knight c5. So let's try this. I mean, hopefully he plays something like here, but he's not. There's always tricks. Knight c5 is also very tricky, assuming queen c2. And the knight is really big. You could possibly do bishop e2, maybe. That's king here. We played slow, though. a5, so I could play knight c5. I don't have to take. This is... I mean, if he takes, I could trade queens. That's good for me. So knight c5 is really key move, maybe. And then we're attacking b3. I mean, now he might be passive, right? So passive land here. I could even do here trade, assuming this is winning. Assuming it's winning, knowing my knowledge. This is actually good. This pawns are good on the other side of the board, and then we have 3 for 2. So technically, and I'm up a pawn. You probably need more than one weakness to win. So sometimes pawn is winnable. One pawn was enough to win a game, right? But sometimes you need more, depending on the game, right? So the reason this is winning, because queen b2 is just hanging another pawn. But I have to be careful how I take it, because maybe queen d4, allowing some kind of, tactics and comebacks. So you maybe will need to take with the knight, so he doesn't have queen d4, because we could take. He could still play here, though, queen here. You just sometimes need to avoid counterplays, so maybe I just don't have to take on b3 right away, but there's b4. So knight takes queen here. Is it just queen d6? That might be it. So once you win pawns... Oh, mate. That's... Mate. Mate coming, f6. So defending the classic mate on g7. It's a try. You could always try mates. I mean, they're pretty good. So it's a try that he keeps making one move threats, but they're not really contributing to the position much. I mean, you're not just... I mean, his queen is still not active. He might try queen e4 though. We'll bring the king over. He still cannot go to like queen c7, maybe the magic move, right? So he plays here. I could also play here, I think. Now that's gonna be like, you know, pass pawns. Not sure if it's strong enough, but it should be. I mean, the queen is not doing anything here as well, so. All right, we'll do this. It's gotta be 2 pass pawns if he takes. So now all I have to do is like stop the counterplay. So maybe any kind of play from him. So let's say here, if he plays here, is maybe a4. You know, the queen is not going to get active at all. If I give him 1 move or 2 moves, maybe he could claim a draw. Like my king is exposed, like, as you can see. Like if you give him like, let's say queen d8 square, and you still have a bishop here, that's gonna be scary, right? Like let's say it's like the queen is on b6, queen d8 here, bishop d5, right? Depending on the situation, right? So I'm not giving him the squares. I know that this is a risk if I allow him to take any of these squares. So the queen on a3 is not doing much. He's just moving around, moving, or you know, trying, but it's not gonna happen. So maybe you could try this, but the pawns start moving, and I could still defend all the back rank over here. So the back rank is around here. All these squares are not, and even around here is not takeable by white at this point. With a queen, with a bishop, maybe you could play here, but it's not doing anything. Bishop, yeah, so he plays here, and this is a counterplay that I'm talking about. He wants here, he takes, and even this one, it's not good enough for him, because I could still go back to c4, and the pawns are still gonna be moving. So I can still take here, here. If you go for this, maybe he takes, and you have to go back to c4. Yeah, c4, so he doesn't have queen e6. So let's say I play like a4. You know, the b5 is not attacked, right? Then, just to give you an example here, if e4, maybe it's like queen d5. And then you look at potential draw, or even worse, if should he goes like here. So he's going for it, right? So we talked about the counterplay. So now, again, we should never allow him to go to d8. Now, if I go king here, it's queen d8, and it's still the same issue. So it's more like here, I suppose. So he can still play queen d5, but he's not going here. The king is still actually I have to be careful actually, because I was about to move, but this allows a check, and here we have this. So this means I go here, I suppose. Again, he's not making gains. Now it's like me pushing, right? So all you have to do is defending. I'm up 2 pawns, but and I'm trying to queen, but all you have to do is like a little bit of defense. So c4, b4, maybe he could take. I mean, even this one is winning to me, I think. I mean, here, b3, here, b2, of course. So it's b4 here, b3, queen e1, b2, queen b1, queen b3. It should be winning, but obviously you want to play it safe. So maybe just pushing the a4 pawn. And you should never give up a pass pawn unless you know you for sure you could win. Like, if you know that this is winning, you could allow like queen takes c5. If you know for sure, right? If you don't know, then you obviously you know, try to keep the two. You could keep the pass pawn. So he's trying to play e5 and take stakes, and this maybe wants what he wants to do is like here. So if he plays here, I could play f5, I suppose. Maybe I could still, or I could even take. On takes. He doesn't have this as a pin. I'm counting on the pin for now, right? Hmm. So he could check and then I could still play here. He cannot play e6, is still the pin, right? So that's he's being slow. Yeah, I'm slowing him down for like a couple moves. You don't want to do this. It's queen d5, so maybe that's tricky. It's queen d5 anyway, so maybe I have to allow it, I guess. 1 minute my clock is not enough to find the best moves. Queen e6. Ooh. Queen e6. Am I prepared for that? Am I prepared for the defend against this one? So if I play here, is he take? Okay, so push. This one is queen f8, but now my pawns are not really moving fast enough. I have to watch out. This is the mate idea, so that's you cannot play here as queen e5. Here, checkmate. But this move may be a blunder by him. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe it's king g8 here, queen here. I mean, I'm attacking here, but it's not clear anymore. But this pawn at h6 is actually pretty painful at this point. I mean, I only have a couple seconds on my clock. I mean, it's 54 seconds. It's not entirely easy in a position like this. You cannot do things like that right now. There's always potential like queen d8 mate. He's gonna take here, of course. Still have a pawn though, which it's technically now easier to play because this is still h pawn pass pawn. e6 is takeable some line, so this is still good for black. Here I could play even queen f6. The big issue is the time. So you could check all he wants. Okay, we are back. We are back. Queen c8 does not do much. He might just repeating. He may be repeating. Still have to watch out. These positions are really hard for white to hold even. I mean, I could even do this. g5. This is actually a big mistake. Because he cannot take here. This is winning. And I might take on f4. It's a huge mistake. Because now I'm taking here next. I mean, what do you have? You cannot defend against this. Like queen takes, pawn takes. It doesn't matter. Probably queen takes next. And it's not easy to defend those positions. It could be draw, but it's not easy at all. Like, even strong players could mess up this kind of ending game. It's easier to play for black, right? Yeah, but this is winning. Winning 100%. We have the opposition. We have the opposition. We won. I just want to check with the computer if there's actually any kind of draw here. It could be. I believe it's still winning though, but who knows? Queen endings are pretty tricky though. Yeah, not just like rook endings, pawn endings. Yeah, this is still winning though. It's -2. The reason it's -2, -3, it's actually because h7 is still a pass pawn, and also you still have a pawn here. So let's say I'm just giving some ideas. h5, just like the computer suggesting to do. Queen c4. So the winning idea maybe is like queen b2, something like queen d3, and then you could play king f6. At some point, you're gonna round, you may take on e6. That's maybe the reason it's winnable. So let's say you play king here, which is a computer line, which I don't understand, but something like queen here, maybe. And then you could see this is trouble. e6 is hanging. You play c3, and then you take on e6. You cannot defend e6 in the long term. This is the reason why it's winning. So now you're up 2 pawns, and f4 pawn doesn't do much here. So that's the reason why it's still winning. I just want to check before. Maybe before he has some tricks. Yeah, here is maybe a draw. Yeah, here unfortunately there's a draw. Maybe the draw is actually not as easy as you think. Oh wow, this made in 4. Wait, what? Oh, it's here. Ooh. Oh, I forgot about this. Queen f7. Oh, that's... Oh, that's made here, and obviously if it's here, this queen takes e7. Oh, that's funny. That's very funny, though. So I have to play queen f8. Is this actually what I did? b3? I did, yeah. I did. So I have to play here. This is the reason it's... So the draw is around here. Let's say queen d4, a3, and then you take the pawn, and let's say you play here is queen queen e4. Now, he's just gonna take all the pawns, and he's still hanging on to his f4 pawn. So it's like 3 for 3. You're not gonna really win. But this actually feels like it's a draw. I feel like it's winning before, though. I mean, technically, black should be winning this. As a matter of fact, here is winning. It's just c5. Like g5 is winning right off the bat here, and you don't have this. You could actually take here, and queen takes c5 next. I mean, let's say he plays here, queen takes c5. And obviously, if you were to take here, you trade queens right out of the bat here. I mean, how I did not see g5 is completely a big joke. So even here, it's winning. This is totally winning. There's nothing you could do. Like here is -4. Doesn't matter what he does. Maybe queen b3, and then he's gonna hit by b4, and you stop pushing the pawns fast enough, and and there's no way he could defend that. So it's good game though. It's good game. I mean, you could see that I'm just going back. This is -3 in favor for black, of course. It's funny that this is draw. Like this bishop e2. Maybe I'm missing all the tricks. I mean, queen d2, and maybe missing all the tricks here, and it's a draw somehow because you could take on b7. Back rank still a concern. So this is kind of like tricky game, but just stick here. You cannot do this. It's 94, I guess. Still winning for black, regardless. Winning for black if you play the proper moves, and the knight is better than the bishop. So around here is actually -2. Even before he plays h4, h5. This is still -2. So this is a classic, even before taking the pawn. You could go here all the way back. Around here is -1.4. So this actually gives you a good example why the bishop's not as good. Even if we go back a move, it's still very good. Knight d5 is actually the best move. You go after knight c3, and so this is a classic knight versus bishop. So people that always say bishop is always good, no, it just depends on the position. I mean, any good player, even if your chess coach is telling you this is actually, it could be questionable. I mean, chess coaches would probably tell you bishops are not always great. They are technically good for diagonals. If you have the 2 bishops, you control the 2 diagonals, right? At the same time. But what if you have knight versus bishop, just like one bishop out of the 2? It just depends on the position. The right answer, bishops are not always good, and depends on which opening you play. Some openings actually do favor the knights versus a bishop, and there are a lot of openings who are favoring the bishop versus the knight. So sometimes people would always assume, oh, the bishops are always good. I could always go for bishop ending or bishop versus knight, and it's a wrong assumption. Chess is all based on like what the position tells you what to do. Like around here, my opponent, didn't. I mean, I could play h3 was maybe a move. That's actually was like around here. I'm going so fast here. I actually meant around here. The decision that he took wasn't really the nice one. So here, maybe just h3 still might move. Yeah, so you can see the computer is giving me this is the top move. And the reason is this is maybe a top move because you don't allow bishop g4. You don't have to go for like bishop here. So even when I get to play bishop g4, bishop e2 is actually the best idea. So if you play here is here. The knight is still good though, but it's not as good because we are still in the middle game. There's a lot to do. You're not getting knight d5 because you could always take it on d5. So the bishop maybe here is decent enough. You still have to be concerned about potential. That bishop is not as great as versus the knight over here. So this to me, like when you play h3, it shows like a good understanding of the game. Like that bishop g4 and bishop takes f3, it's kind of a troubling kind of stuff. So this is the reason why some trades are not playable. Or not playable, you could play it, but you know that when you play it is not as good for you. This becomes with knowledge, like, why h3 is being played. This feels like it's a random move. Why not I take bishop and take on f3. The reason being is sometimes that the position is asking you to play like a knight versus bishop kind of stuff. That this is going to be in the ending game favoring you. Obviously, this is only designed for stronger players, like wants to understand like positional chess. If your tactics is so bad, whatever I'm showing you right now, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter like if you allow bishop g4 or what was it? What was it? Bishop d3. So it doesn't matter if you allow this. If your tactics is so bad, or you're still working on your tactics, it doesn't matter like what is bishop g4 is all about. What's going to be all about for you, if your tactics is not that great, is actually doing a lot of tactics, right? Doing a lot of tactics puzzles and working on your tactics is going to be the real improvement. But once your tactics are really good, you're almost a master. And so now positional chess would have to be something that you work on. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. Like I'm explaining my moves and why h3, why the knight is better than the bishop at this point. It just depends on the position. It comes with experience and playing more. It depends on the opening you play sometimes. So I remember playing the Semislav. To show you what I mean by the Semislav, like this is a kind of I mean this is actually like one way to do it, but. This is actually the better version of Semislav, like something like here. And so I played this kind of stuff. The move order is really interesting. So when you play bishop g5, that's a Semislav. So I used to play this like long time ago, and I take on c4. This one is huge opening. It requires like 50 moves in studying. The reason I'm showing this, like, you could go for e4 and b5. I used to play this like all the time. And like here, h6 here, and like g5, you take this kind of line. I mean, you could see how many moves I'm making here. This is like an entire line. Something like that. I wouldn't care about what the computer is telling me here. So I used to play this setup like all the time in the past. Now, the reason I'm showing this, what is this opening? What does it do? What are you trying to say here? What I'm trying to say here, when I used to play this opening with the black side, I know that these pawns are really dangerous. Like going into this opening, like positionally, those pawns are really dangerous. Meaning that if we trade if we trade everything and if we go to an ending, black could win. As a matter of fact, there's like a really interesting line in this opening where you sack an entire rook. You could sack an entire rook. I think it's like rook h5 at some point, like later. You sack an entire rook so you could get like a huge amount of pass pawns. I guess you b2 and e2 is almost taken, and d4 is also taken. So it's like a crazy line where you would have like 3 pass pawns, marching into like b2 and c2 even. Like you would see that the pawn is the pawn on b5 is b2, the pawn on c4 is c3, d4 is already taken, and you sacking the h8 rook. So I used to know this line by heart, and I sometimes beat like grandmaster in this line, because they don't remember it. If you don't remember this line for white, you could get really punished. If you don't know move by move, if you make one slip, then black could win. So the reason I'm showing this, I know that positionally, if you were to trade down, and some of my opponents when I used to play in OTB tournaments, some of my opponents on the white side, like they were like 1900s, 1800 USCF, which is equivalent to like, let's say 1900 federating players. They would go to an endgame and they play the wrong moves, and then I would eventually promote somehow. Like one of my pawns gonna promote. Like I knew this ahead of time. So this is actually what I mean by if you play a certain opening and you play it all the time, you're familiar with this kind of structure, and like, okay, so I could trade everything and then I could win. Having this knowledge beforehand would help you in depending on which opening you play. This is something nothing to do with the 2 bishops here. This is actually crazy line. But the idea is depending on which opening that you play, right? So depending on the opening you play, there is some ideas that leads you to understand positionally what to do. Like I'm confused what to do. Once you play the more you play the opening more and more, you get an experience to how the pawn structure, and end the game like this. This actually, it's a considered ending game even in like we are moved like what we're almost moving in like move 8, and we already consider this like an ending game, even though it looks like it's middle game, because there's a lot of pieces going to be traded off, like an f6, and then some c5 d5 is going to happen. So that's the reason why I say, like, sometimes when you become stronger and you play the semi-Slav, it may put you in a situation where you may win games in blitz games, or you may win in classical games playing the semi-Slav, knowing the ideas behind the opening, and that knowing that an ending game like this would probably favor black. If your tactics is so bad, it doesn't matter which opening that you play, Semi-Slav or Catalan or Rilopez, it wouldn't really matter, because the game would be settled before you get to the stage where positional chess is going to be like really going to be important. People that play strong positional chess, you don't make mistakes technically. Their mistakes are really limited. Like the tactic mistakes are really like slim. Like they would not drop like a pawn, they would not drop like a piece or anything. Maybe it's a sacrifice, but they would not necessarily like drop anything at all. In order to play positional chess, you just have to play like very good tactical chess, right? One of the key factors with positional chess is actually king safety. Like you cannot play like your king safety is like not really good. One of the requirements is king safety is required to play a very good positional chess, right? So king safety is one of the requirement where if your king is secure, then king safety is okay. Like so obviously when I look over beginners, the king safety is not really is not really a thing, right? Because they would probably lose a pawn, they lose a piece, your king is exposed, and then that's not positional play, right? So because I actually got a lot of requests from people that tells me, can I study positional chess? I mean, Magnus plays positional chess, grandmasters plays this kind of stuff. Can I just learn this kind of like bishop is good, knight is good? Could I learn this kind of stuff? No. This is like an opening that I was just showing It's not a game that I played. It's just showing. Um, so long story short, opening doesn't matter depending on which level you are. You know, most of my games is not really settled by opening. I mean, I played the Wing Gambit, for example, and and obviously this is not a it's not a gambit that you probably have to play like in a classical game, but I still play it, right? So so openings are okay as long your tactics are pretty strong, right? And your positional chess is also very strong. Some of my audience actually the are positional players, but most of them are beginners. Sometimes our people are confused, like bishop pair, knight versus bishop. But I try to do my best, right? I explain the moves as I go along, and I try to explain in a way that people could understand it. If your tactics are not that great, you have to do like a lot of puzzles. Watching a streamer here and there, like even watching Nakamura, it's not going to help you. It's for fun, entertaining, and even for some learning purposes. But obviously, um, I had someone told me the other day. I watched Nakamura. I had no clue what's going on. Like he goes so fast, and some of the moves are really advanced. I couldn't understand it. That's true. But watching Nakamura from my perspective, me as a master, it is a good deal, right? It's beneficial for me. Uh, I just reached 26 on Puzzle Coach. I'm seeing them help. Yeah, yeah. I mean, puzzles. It's the only way to improve tactics. There's nothing else really. Like even if you play the best openings, you play the best. Maybe ending games is required. Ending games are really important factor in the game. Ending games is the reason why Magnus is really strong player. A lot of the grandmasters are known for their ending game play, but you're not a grandmaster yet, so. Um, Indie games is really key, but obviously it's one step at a time. If your tactics is so bad, you have to hit the puzzles, whether it's Puzzle Rush, puzzles on Lead Chess, puzzle on chess.com. I used to do books myself, I used to do books. I got this like not checkmate in two or anything. It's like you have a puzzle and you solve it. Like there was no hints or anything. Like it's like 1,000 puzzles, it's kind of thing. And they give you the solution at the back of the book. I used to do this kind of stuff when I used to go to school. I would take the book and I would just in the book, like I wouldn't have chess pieces. Just looking at the at the book and see if I could solve the puzzle. When going back to back and forth to the school. Like when I go to school, going finishing the school. Then when I go home, I still study. Like I still do a lot of tactics when I go, and then play tons of games online. Uh, so, tactics is really the only way, puzzles is the only way to improve tactics. There's nothing else you could do. You have to do a lot of them. There's no way around it. If you only do a few, you're not going to improve. You have to do it in a really, you don't have to do it like every day. Right? I mean, I log in every day to play chess, right? Many people cannot log in every day. They are busy working. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. But if you really care about improvement and you really like want to improve your game, you do have to do a lot of work, including tactics and watching Nakamura and Magnus alone. It would not do it, but it would help. But it's not like gonna be like you're not gonna be like 200 points watching like Nakamura. Somebody the other day told me like I improved by watching Nakamura, which is yes you can, but it depends on the player. It depends on the level of the player. There's another guy that told me I cannot follow him. This guy that I told you guys about, he was only like 400. So, 400. And then watching Nakamura is not really ideal because Nakamura is number 2 in the world. His moves are so advanced. I mean, chances are the bullet games that he plays is much stronger than your classical moves that he play. Like, even if he spent 4 hours about in a game, Nakamura's bullet skills are pretty strong. But that's typical, right? I mean, for somebody like him. But anyways, long story short, we do this for educational purposes. I also teach, that's also in the something that people have to decide on their own if you want to have some coaching. I actually never had coaching before. I mean, I told Keegan, and that if I had coaching before, I would probably be a GM by now, not even an IM. I don't think an IM would be for me. because I used to work a lot in my game, but I never had a coach. Nobody tells me what to do. So if I had a coach back then, it was a lot cheaper though. I don't know, folks. It was like $10 a month. It was $10 a lesson for like 2 weeks, and I was like, no, I would not do it. I would do it my own, and the next thing you know, that I'm only a master. But I end up paying a lot of money though. Like I end up paying a lot of money that entry fee, transportation. So I was like, okay, so I did not pay a coach, but then I end up paying like a lot of money though. Like it doesn't make sense. The money that I spend in tournaments is like equivalent to like having coach like for 5 years. And if I had a coach for 5 years, I'll probably be like in a strong position right now, being at least like beating Nakamura maybe in a strong way. Assuming my speed and everything, I would probably be more than capable. But it's and I mean beating Nakamura online, not over the board. Um, but everybody has their own stuff. My decision was based on like I have to earn my way around things, and it's not the right decision. But hiring a coach is just simply like it's like a shortcut. You pay, yes, but eventually you start winning, right? The point is you start, and that's the reason why I tell people I may not accept like students. To be honest, there are some students I may not accept at all. Like to be honest with you, folks, meaning that there are some students that tells me they would never play tournaments. I'd probably be like, okay, well, if you don't play tournaments, how are you gonna improve? Do you play only online? There are some strong reasons people cannot play tournaments. They have to travel like 2 hours. They have a family like me, but sometimes you do have to make the sacrifice that most of them tells me they want to improve. They are really committed to do it. Um, and obviously, you know, and then they pay for a coach, and then they feel like, okay, so hiring a coach is just simply be like the shortcut of like, they don't want to do anything, so they have to play tournaments, right? So sometimes I reject people, tell them, well, if you cannot play tournaments, I cannot really help you. Sometimes, but not all, depends on the people. Sometimes they do play tournaments, to be honest. I mean, at least some of my students, some of them are playing like in a club setting. Uh, but some of them told me there's zero chance that they play tournaments. Like they would not even consider it the next couple years. So I mean, that's kind of like how they could improve. I don't have a coach now, but I feel we have a lot of resources now to improve. Yeah, that's true. It is very true. Shortcut is having a coach is like a shortcut of like improving, but you could still improve by the free resources that you're saying. That's true. Like if your tactics is so bad, you just hit the puzzle rush, right? Or puzzles. If your positional chess is weak, you probably have to tune into like some kind of commentary by some of the grandmasters that do go over, like let's say Magnus games. It doesn't have to be grandmaster games. Some kind of notation explanation of the moves, like if there's a book that explains why this move is being played. Let's just like when I explained like one of my games. I don't know if I still have it. Since you guys are here, I could explain what I mean by this quickly enough. This is one of my games that I just played during the stream. So I was saying during the game, I mean, I would probably do need the computer here because the position is kind of balanced anyway. So I was basically saying that h3 is the best move. I mean, there are different moves. I mean, there was actually c4, knight d2 is even playable. When I was going over the game like live during the stream, so I was basically saying bishop g4. It's kind of annoying should you trade on f3 because the knight would be better than the bishop. Now, knowing this would help in a lot of your games, right? Knowing this kind of differences would help. So when my opponent plays h3, like instead of bishop d3, he plays here. He white understand that bishop g4, that taking on f3, maybe it's good for black. He's disallowing it. So the fact that he's disallowing it, that becomes like, like a good advantage for your opponent, knowing that this move is not, I'm not gonna allow it. You have to find something else, right? So when you have, let's say, this kind of commentary, like in a lot of games, including like grandmasters, basically saying move by move. That's how you improve, right? Like why h3 is so specific, and then when I move forward here, and then when I was basically saying that the bishop better than the knight, then it was pretty obvious when I started moving. You start move, and then we trade everything, and then we could see that, well, I mean, the knight now is in a better square, and then eventually I was able to pick up a pawn, right? So here, it's actually a forced way to win a pawn. Like e2 is hanging, and, f2 could be hanging. And also there's double pawns, so that advantage goes for black. Knowing that this is good for me, I went and played it. I played this plan. I played this plan that I traded, right? So this takes a skill. Like, it takes a skill to know the differences. I used to be like 2000, and I would not be able to know this. Like, if I would be playing black, I would be like so tactical. Even though knight c3 is tactical, like I would not be like I would at the old days. Maybe when I was 1900, I would probably be playing something like something like e5, and instead of bishop c4, like e5 more tactical. Like you're looking at like rook e8, something like, let's say b4, rook e8, e4. But this is not positional. This is more like you're trying to win a piece, but it's not like you could win it in one move, right? You could still stop it. But once I got better, I don't not you're not gonna play like e5. You're gonna play more precise like bishop g4. So when you play this kind of stuff, obviously, the better you are, the better you understand the differences, you understand the positions, right? And so everything is not tactical. Everything could be. You just have to play the position, what the position is telling you. That sometimes there's tactics, sometimes it's a boring position, like opposite color bishops, right? And you have to play like in a certain way to draw or win, depending on the game, right? Anyways, we're gonna stop here though. Good conversation. We're probably gonna be back later today. I'm gonna be back later today doing Twitch. I'm going back between Twitch and YouTube, streaming here, streaming there, so that's good. I'm probably gonna do puzzles, maybe again puzzles later today. We might play some rapid games even, so we'll see about that one. It's gonna be maybe in Lichess. We'll see. Maybe in Lichess. If not today, it's tomorrow. I mean, there's always like tomorrow for me, and I try just stream every single day. I'm trying to catch up, with other people. That being said, we're gonna stop here, folks, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Learning purposes, I mean, this is like almost like a free lesson, right? It's not equivalent to free lesson. Do not fool yourself, though. It's still like there's a lot to work on. I mean, I'm playing my own games. I'm not like playing a student's games, right? Playing my own games, and I'm actually doing my own blunders as well. Like sometimes I make a blunder, I knew ahead of time when I make the move, right? Or after I do it right away, like because I'm playing like, let's say, bullet game, blitz game, where I slip. So there's always things happening during my games. All right, you're very welcome. We'll be back tomorrow or later today, maybe in a couple of hours. We'll see. If not, it's always tomorrow. All right, I will see you guys later. Take care, everybody. Take care. Keegan, everybody here. 5 people for now. It could be 500 later. Never know. Take care, folks. Take care. I'll see you guys later. Take care.